Do you ever need help calming down? Hey, me too. Regardless, today is your lucky day because this psychologist is here to help. Hi there, this is Dr. Brett Pearce, and I'm a child psychologist, but today I'd like to walk the viewer/listener through a simple several-minute relaxation exercise. I've been told that I have a calming voice, and I guess it usually comes with the territory with being a therapist. So, what I would like you to do is to find a quiet place where you can sit down, if possible. Whenever we experience upsetting feelings, these feelings always live in our bodies. They live in our muscles. Our fight or flight system can be churning out a lot of hormones. And we can also find that stressful feelings live in our breath and in the rate of our heart. It is difficult to control many of these things, but the one thing that you can usually marshal some control over to help you calm down is in your breath. So I invite you now to simply take a moment to focus on your breath. You don't even have to try to slow it down. You don't have to speed it up. You don't have to do anything other than simply notice. Just bring your attention to your breath. You can notice if it is moving quickly. You can notice if it is moving slowly. You can notice if it is moving at a fairly normal rate. All of these things are perfectly okay. But if we are upset, anxious, angry, stressed, panicked, it is good for us to start to consciously control the breath, perhaps by beginning with a deep breath through the nose, holding for just a moment before exhaling, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth. And we breathe this way to help ourselves calm down, because when we breathe slowly through the nose, pausing before the exhale, and then exhaling slowly through the mouth, we can engage the body and the mind's ability to calm. And there are actual physiologic mechanisms behind this that are perhaps beyond the scope of this video. Regardless, take another breath in. Hold before the exhale and release slowly through the mouth. And one more time, in through the nose, holding for just a moment, and then out through the mouth. You should also attempt to notice, as you breathe, whether or not you are breathing into your belly, or if you breathe into your chest. When we are upset, we tend to find that we breathe rapidly into the chest. But by expanding the belly with the inhale, we generally can breathe steadier and more deeply. So one more time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, continuing to breathe naturally and deeply, we can gently scan through the body, feet, legs, up into the belly, up through the chest and the shoulders, down through the elbows and into the fingers, up into the shoulders, and perhaps then up through the neck and the head, gently looking for any little bits of tension. Again, the intention isn't to try to muscle a kind of absolute control over this tension that you may feel in your body, but to instead simply to notice the particularly tense spots and see with your exhalations if you can let them go a little bit. So I invite you to scan your body and release tension for a few breaths. In through the nose. Hold for a moment and releasing tension just as best as you can. One more time, in through the nose. Hold for a moment and then out through the mouth. The mind can also hold tension in it. Mental tension tends to look something like a kind of demand, a paralysis, or an urge to jump into action more urgently than perhaps is required. But the simplest thing for us to do to release mental tension is to try to notice our tendency to demand that whatever upsetting feeling that we are experiencing be gone. I can't stand this feeling. It needs to be gone now. I shouldn't have to feel this feeling. This feeling is making me completely miserable. It's ruining my day. And so forth. Those things we experience in our minds, those being thoughts, tend to be connected with a kind of mental tension. And so what we can do for now is simply attempt to breathe and switch those demands to a sense of a kind of amused acceptance. These things are here. You do feel upset. Whatever has happened that made you upset has happened. And when we fight against what has already happened and what already is, it is understandable that we thus feel quite tense mentally. And so now what we can do is try to see if we can release the mind's attempt to struggle against what has already happened by demanding that something else should have happened, as well as perhaps noticing the mind's tendency to whir into motion, trying to plan and solve. Perhaps there is something that you need to plan for and solve. And also, if you are upset, it is good to perhaps take a moment to set that aside for now, because you can always come back to whatever is bothering you, but you can do so with a sense of calm. There aren't many things in life that really require that level of vigor and tension in order to address. So let us try to release that mental tension, that demand, and that frantic mental action, those worrying thoughts that are associated with that tension now, through a couple of deep breaths. In through the nose, into the belly, holding and then releasing slowly through the mouth. Once more in through the nose, breathing into the belly, holding just a moment before the exhalation, and then out through the mouth. And because this video is available to you whenever you would wish on YouTube, it can be used by watching, or perhaps even better, by simply listening as many times as you feel you can when you do have time and space. If you only have a few moments, then a few deep breaths may not get rid of whatever upset feelings you are experiencing. It may not solve whatever problems are going on that seem to be connected with those upset feelings. But it is always good to just do what you can to nudge your body and your mind in the correct direction. So I hope this video was of use. Thank you.